Happy Friday. The work week is on the way out, if that applies to you. And if you've been on spring break this week or your children have, I understand. Either way, the week is out the door. And unfortunately, today we are talking about the Roadhouse reimagining on Amazon Prime. Don't go anywhere. Oh, this is a mess. You don't want to miss this.
Previously on the Nerdy Ronin Network.
Did nobody watch it and go, oh? Happy Friday. That's right. It's Fri-Yay. I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope you're ready for a great weekend. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate each and every one of you. Old subscribers, new subscribers, you're all welcome here, and we love you all. In the description down below are our links. Check them out, especially if you want to save a few dollars on some coffee or get some merch or whatever you want. It's down there. All right. We have to talk a little history first, ladies and gentlemen. Do you remember back in 1989 when this movie came out? Roadhouse 1989, rated R, hour and 54 minutes. Don't worry, this is not the movie we're talking about, but you need a bit of history. A bouncer hired, like a professional bouncer, hired to clean up the baddest honky-tonk in a Missouri town. Armed with a black belt in karate and a PhD in philosophy, Patrick Swayze sets out to tame the double deuce for its owner. Do you remember that? Let me tell you something. That movie, which it's one of my favorites, mind you, but that movie, what made it so great was it wasn't a great movie. It was campy. It was kind of a B movie, but it had name people in it, and every person in it played their part. Straight up. All right? They put the effort in, they played it above the line, just did the best job they could do, and it turned out to be a beloved movie. It wasn't that it was amazing, but it was honest about what it was, which was just a bubblegum action movie, 80s action, beautiful women, tough guys, lots of violence, great music. Mainly by the Jeff Healey band, who he acted in the movie as well. The late Jeff Healey did. And he was a blind guitar player, one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. And when you added all of that together, it ended up being a perfect storm of just a fun, entertaining watch. All right? Are we on the same page? So, at some point in the recent past, somebody said, you know what? That needs to be reimagined. Reimagined. And they came up with this. Roadhouse 2024, rated R, 2 hours and 1 minute. An ex-UFC fighter, Dalton, Elwood Dalton, if you need to know the full name, takes a job as a bouncer, which he has no experience at a Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that this paradise is not all that it seems. Directed by Doug Liman, written by Anthony Bagarozzi, Chuck Mondry, and they give credit to Arlance Hill, who wrote the original, but I don't think he had, that's just, these characters are based like loosely. Starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor, Daniela Melchior, or whatever her name is. Okay. You guys, I wanted to find something good for today to review. And I thought, you know what? I don't think it's going to be great. Because the original is fantastic, but I'll give it a shot. 10 minutes in, I threw up in my mouth. I'm telling you now, there's going to be some spoilers here, okay? Starting in 3, 2, 1. 15 minutes into this movie, I paused it, turned to Nerdy Wife, and told her what was going to happen. Plot points, how it was going to end. No joke. This movie starts with a bar owner. She inherited the bar. And she shows up at some underground fight club. And we all know the number one rule for Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club. Well, evidently somebody ran their mouth. Because she shows up looking for a fighter that somebody said might fit her needs as a bouncer. Now you might say, well, that sounds right. But is she looking for the Dalton? Nope. She's looking for somebody else. Somebody that at the moment is fighting in the ring and has beat 5 or 6 people in a row. And then in comes Dalton. And when that guy sees Dalton, he says, I'm not fighting that guy. No way. You don't know why, but the guy gets angry and he just leaves. So Dalton wins all the money. Okay, then. At this point, he's a hobo. He lives in his car, has no money, just travels around from fight to fight, and he's famous, not for a good reason. So when nobody wants to fight him, he gets the money. You with me? And she says, hey, you want to be a bouncer? I'm having some trouble at my bar. Excuse me. At my bar called The Roadhouse. The Roadhouse. Don't you want to work at The Roadhouse? And I even have a boat you can stay in. It's got a great name. It's called The Boat. I kid you not. Listen, y'all. That's just the very beginning. And it goes downhill from there. Now, Jake Gyllenhaal does the best he can, I believe, with this role, with what he's given on the script. But everybody else, you don't get a pass. All right? His character is somewhat understandable for most of the movie until you get to the end and you find out that the whole movie is about his feelings. All right? And they literally have him try to kill himself at the beginning of the movie. What if that sounds anything like a professional bouncer? I mean, they took out the mentorship role with Sam Elliott. They just deleted that completely. They used a couple of plot points, or story ideas or moments from the original to try to nostalgia bait you. But the fact of the matter is, this is such an inferior product. This, at the worst, is fan fiction. And at the best, a parody. It's a parody. The bad guys are all stereotypical stupid. Conor McGregor does a god-awful job of acting. And I would say 80% of the actors in this movie are somebody's cousin and somebody owed him a favor, so they got to be in this movie and have a line of dialogue. That's how bad it is. The storyline is convoluted. The bar owner has lied about why the bad guys are coming after her bar. And at no point, even after he almost gets killed, does she apologize for lying. and not telling him the truth and the information he would have needed to be able to protect himself. He's cool with that. No problem. The love interest spends the entire movie. The doctor spends the entire movie talking crap to him like he's a nobody. I mean, right off the bat, when they meet, she's rude. This is just poorly written. And it's just a mess. And you know what? They care so little about the main character, Dalton, and his journey. The final battle between him and Conor McGregor, you think he's killed McGregor. I got news for you. There's a mid-credit scene showing that McGregor's fine. He beats up a bunch of people in the hospital and walks out butt naked, which is how you're introduced to the character at the beginning of or when he's introduced. He's jumping out of a window of somebody he's had an affair with and walking off naked. So you get to see his rear end, right? No. Nerdy Wife said this came across as an episode of Baywatch, and I have to agree. This is not an issue of the first one, or the original is so great. Look how they've massacred my boy. No. This is fan fiction where the people that wrote it don't know how to write a real movie. Which is weird because they have a couple of credits of some decent movies. But the dialogue is chunky and clunky and sometimes just doesn't even make sense. The love interest is silly. You have the main character admitting that he's the Incredible Hulk, that you don't want to make him angry because he'll kill you. Because he can't stop himself because his feelings, ladies and gentlemen. So he has no control over his emotions. What's that sound like? It doesn't sound like a professional. Oh, I gotta tell you, I was so disappointed. I watched this yesterday and I've been angry ever since. It did such a disservice. And the only reason I'm giving it, even a review is because they're calling it a reimagining. And evidently that means we let talentless hacks just destroy it. And then we decided not even put it in theaters. We're just going to put it on streaming because we watched it and realized it's horrible. Now I've read several reviews from movie critics and they lap this up, boy. It's fantastic. No, it's stupid. It's ugly. It's got horrible camera work in it. It has some good shots too, but they did some things in this movie that just make it, it'll make you nauseous just trying to follow the camera. It's awful. Some of the fight scenes look great. Fine. But it's not enough to save it. It's awful. So, do yourself a favor. And if you watch this, remember I told you so. Oh, goodness. And that's going to be it for this week. Man, I wanted this to be good so bad. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We will be back on Monday and Wednesday and Friday. Michael the microphone, Bob, squeaky chair, wherever he is in his vacation at the moment, and this big fat nerd. We'll see you on Monday.